Hi, everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Rich Estrella along with Bob Gibson and Randy Rosenblum. Happy you joined us. We're coming to you today from Santa Fe High School in Santa Fe Springs, home of the Chiefs, as our studio gets built, man. Aren't you guys excited about getting back inside?
Patrick Mahomes here?
I'm excited about getting inside, especially when it's cold. I mean, when you go outside right about now, it's really cold.
Santa Fe High it's funny you mention that because Joe Gibbs is probably, in sports, one of the most famous alum to come through here. Although Joey Davis is making a big run for that record because he's edging his way up the MMA world and a several-time state champ and so forth and so on. Anyways, thank you, John Conte, for calling me right now. Anyways, guys, listen, it's basketball, and it's always exciting around playoff time, and that's where we are right now. Let's go back. See, we pull out the tape. Listen, I told you guys Rancho Christian was going to be very good this year. May win CIF. They are in the open division, and they're in there with all the usual suspects. And we see Rancho Christian's going to take on Bishop Montgomery in the opening game. And it's going to be Rancho Verde taking on Etiwanda. Now, this is the upper bracket, so to speak. Everybody in the open division gets to play everybody, correct?
Yeah, it's pool play. You know what's interesting about this is everyone talks about the Mobley brothers at Rancho Christian, and they are fantastic. But Dominic Harris, the shooter who transferred in, can really fill it up. He's on his way to Gonzaga. He spreads the floor. He hits perimeter shots. And along with the Mobleys, that's an outstanding team.
Oh, he's a good compliment, there's no doubt. But you cannot dismiss the Mobley brothers. I think Bob could play point guard over there, and they would still win.
Of course I could.
When you have length, you have two brothers, one 6'10", one 6'11", 7 foot, and they both can play point guard. This is like Magic Johnson stuff. It just doesn't happen in high school basketball that often. But it gives them a big advantage. And, Randy, you're right. That length is hard to overcome.
Yeah, they have another player, Luke Turner, who's good at 6'6". I mean, they are really big.
And I was going to say, in the recent matchup, they seem to give Sierra Canyon fits, especially defensively.
Yeah, Sierra Canyon had him on the ropes, but in the end, that length and the ability to finish. I mean, Sierra Canyon had the lead late last week. But again, the mad rush, they scored the final 12 points of the game to the Eagles to win it. Now that's why they're the number one seed in the Open.
Let's take a look at the lower bracket in the Open division, and we'll see who it's comprised of. Sierra Canyon, of course, the top seed there. They're going to play Mater Dei in the opening game. And then Centennial, Corona Centennial, and St. John Bosco also round out the bottom four in that bracket. Everybody gets to play everybody in the Open division. You get points every time you win. It's a point system, and the guy that has the most points at the end, the most wins, obviously, will be the champ.
I think Sierra Canyon's the best team in the Open division. I know Rancho Christian beat it, but Sierra Canyon, Kenyon Martin's kid, KJ Martin, Scottie Pippen Jr., a brilliant point guard, very quick. It's an outstanding team, and now they're going to have the incentive. They lost to Mater Dei last year. They're going to want to knock them off in the first game.
I agree.
You know, they lost to Rancho Christian. They're going to want to get them again. So I think the incentive now is with the defending state champions from Sierra Canyon.
Well, if you ever think Mater Dei maybe didn't want to get in the Open division, this is the year, right? Kind of squeaked in the back door. Now what do they get? Sierra Canyon in the first round. I think Mater Dei would have rather been in the D1 bracket. Would have had a real chance to win there.
But lest you guys forget, Rancho Christian has already pretty much beat everybody in the Open division. There's a couple teams they didn't play, and I don't think they're going to be there in the final. I think you're right. Sierra Canyon's going to be there in the final round in that lower bracket. But the fact remains, Rancho Christian has already beaten they beat Corona Centennial twice. They beat Etiwanda, I believe. I mean, they beat Sierra Canyon. They beat Wasatch, who's a top 10 team in the country. They played a good schedule. I think they gelled at the right time, and that's what we're seeing right now in the game with Rancho. Last week was 61-58 final, I believe.
Yeah, that was the right score, 61-58. It's just a terrific game, and everyone is thinking they're going to meet again. I think the real spoiler, I agree, I think they will meet, but the spoiler there could be Corona Centennial. They're a very good club, but on paper, there's no question that Sierra Canyon and Rancho Christian are the two clubs.
It's set up that way, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, I failed on a crash course, and they're going to get there again. Again, in Division I, though, Trinity League again, well represented. Represented with Mater Dei, St. John Bosco. In Division I, you got Trinity League teams all over the
Santa
place.
Margarita, J. Sarah,
in
the division, or excuse me, Santa Margarita in the Division I bracket. But Jay Serra also haven't made the playoffs out of that Trinity.
The Division I bracket is really good. It's unique. You think that Santa Margarita can win this thing, but then they come up short at times. They got 3 D1 guys in their starting lineup, but something's missing, at least so far. Maybe it'll come together in the playoffs. They've had a grueling schedule. Maybe it took its toll.
Let's take a look at the Division I bracket, and let's take a look at the upper side first, the upper bracket, and we'll have a see there. And, of course, you have Chino Hills and Muir opening it up, and you go down the thing, but you look down the list there, guys. You know, Pauley gets a bye. They already get to move on. Canyon of Anaheim gets a bye. They get to move on in the upper bracket. In this upper bracket in Division I mean, it's wide open, fellas. That's the way I see it right now.
Oh,
I mean,
Chino Hills
Loyola,
is...
Serra,
yeah.
Esperanza's had a rough season. St. Anthony's a smaller school, but they got some players over there. And, of course, Chino Hills and Muir. Chino Hills is always dangerous.
Yeah, but Chino Hills is the team that's gelling. The Big O, Okongwu, he's coming on. He's a high school All-American. They're coming off a big win over Etowanda last week. So Chino Hills is the team that's on the rise. Now, whether they take that and play that well in the playoffs, we have to wait and see, but they're really on the rise.
I agree with you, Randy. I think it's all about momentum going into the postseason. We talk about it so much. All about getting the momentum. Chino Hills has the momentum right now on their side. Definitely.
All right, guys, looking at the lower bracket, Harvard Westlake, top seed, they got a bye in the lower division bracket. Redondo High School also got a bye. You got Oak Park taking on Brentwood. You got Roosevelt taking on Jay Serra. Edison, Santa Margarita. That's the game. That's the big Orange County game right there. Calabasas, Crespi, Los Altos, Hacienda Heights against Crosswood, Maranatha, Damien. The Los Altos Crossroads game, I got to talk with Coach Lucas about this ball game, and here's what he had to say about his opponent.
Yeah, it was a very tough loss for us. Probably one of the tougher ones that I've had and we've had here at Los Altos High School. We lost in the quarters on a bucket at the buzzer, and they ended up going on to win the state playoffs. So, yeah, we got them back at our house this time. We were at their place last year, this Friday night, and we're looking forward to the game. Okay,
guys, as we see Coach Lucas, Los Altos is unfairly in Division I, guys. I'm telling you right now. They're not a very big school, but they're just lucky that they have a great coach who's been there 31 years in the school and has coached the team for at least 20-something of that. And they have a good thing going right now, but I'm just not sure they're Division I.
Well, that's a tall order in that bracket for sure, right? But they've got that player.
They're not that big, and they're not parochial.
They've got that one player who can get over the top, right? Who can do a lot and has done a lot this year.
I know you're going to talk about Jared Lucas a lot later in the program, but he's averaging almost 40 a game. So when you have a player like that, he's going to keep them in against everybody, and it's great that they get a home game to start.
Well, I'm telling you, it was at the ball game this last Thursday when Lucas set the record, and we're going to talk about at the end of the show, but man, they double, triple teamed them, quadruple teamed them at one point.
They didn't want him to get that record. No, they were doing all they could to keep him.
West Covina fouled out like 4 players trying to stop Lucas. They were hanging on to his shorts, pulling his, when he'd go for a layup or something, they'd pull him down.
I was waiting for somebody to run out of the stands,
He was scratched up after the ball game. I mean, it was nasty, but he wasn't going to be denied. And matter of fact, he did it in 3 quarters of play. A minute into the 4th quarter, he had the record. But let's continue on and talk more about this Division I because it's going to be good. It's wide open, fellas.
And I want to bring up Jay Serra because I think we talk about momentum. Jay Serra's the big win over Santa Margarita at the end of the campaign now, and I think Jay Serra's got some momentum going in, and they've got healthy players that are really starting to gel. That team's starting to gel in the right direction, Randy.
You hit the key. They're healthy, and they hadn't been healthy all year. They have the leader in Rodman who makes big plays at the appropriate time, and now they have the momentum after beating Santa Margarita and becoming that 3rd-place team in the Trinity League. I think you're right. Jay Serra is dangerous.
And don't sell Ian Martinez, the point guard, short at all, man. This dude is out of his mind. He can do everything well. And that was the key to them beating Santa Margarita, who's a very good team, who has 3 Division I players on that team. I mean, it was just amazing to watch those guys play. They should do well in the playoffs. Randy, let's talk about the Open Division now in the city section.
Well, it's obviously 2 teams that stand out.
Which 2?
Dorsa?
Are you shocked?
Dorsey and Crenshaw?
Well,
I was going to say Dorshaw.
You're in the wrong sport now. They used to be good. Now, they're still okay in basketball. But it's all about Fairfax, the top seed. They're very good. They got Keith Dinwiddie, who's come in from Culver City and has put them over the top. They've had a great player in Anderson for 4 years. But with Dinwiddie coming in, Dinwiddie's terrific. He had 7 threes last week in a victory over Westchester. So on the lower bracket, you have Westchester. On the upper bracket, you have Fairfax. The best game in the opening round in the Open Division by far is the 4-5 game, which is Taft, the Toreadors, number 4, playing number 5, Washington Prep. And the Generals are good. They played earlier in the year, and Taft won a tough game. That's going to be a good game. That one could go either way. But in the end, guys, it's Fairfax and Westchester. I can break down all these preliminary quarterfinal games, but Fairfax and Westchester on a collision course for February 23rd.
Now, the big question is Fairfax has gotten them twice this year. Can Westchester finally turn the tables if it does get to a final between those two?
That's a big question. They're going to have to slow down Keith Dinwiddie. Again, he's that transfer. He came in and hit the 7 threes. 34 points at home. He seems to be just another cog. You know, Ethan Anderson was a star. He's on his way to UNLV. Now he's got another running mate down there that can really make shots at Fairfax. And Steve Bake really has that team playing well. And, of course, he had championship pedigree when he was at Chino Hills coaching the balls over there. So he knows how to get it done. Fairfax is very good. But, you know, try to beat Westchester 3 times. You got to think if it becomes those two teams, Ed Azam will have a game plan that'll make it very, very tough for Fairfax.
Randy, does anybody have a chance other than Fairfax and Westchester? Give me who's the odd man out in this thing? Just one.
I would have to say Taft. Maybe Washington Prep, because those two teams are going to battle in the first round, and the game could go either way. Those are two teams that have a lot of physical talent, but they just don't have the size of a Westchester and the depth of a Fairfax. But they're both very good. So the winner there of that 4-5 game, which will play Fairfax in the semis, they'd have an outside shot if Fairfax has a bad shooting game. I think Westchester will zoom right through. I think they'll be in the finals. Fairfax has the dangerous game because they're going to have to play the winner of that Washington Prep Taft game.
Interesting, man. Interesting. It always comes down to the Fairfax and Westchester, doesn't it? I mean, you got to change this song at some point, but I get it. They have programs. They just have programs. They're dialed in.
Yeah, they really are.
They're dialed in. All right, let's go back to the southern section now, and let's take a look at the girls' open division. Looks a lot like the boys. You got Sierra Canyon ranked #1 in the upper division, but they got Troy, who's no slouch. They were the 8th seed.
Program.
Bishop Montgomery, who is also in the open division with the boys, is also in this bracket, along with Redondo Union, who's in Division One favorite in the boys. Then we have Etowanda in the lower bracket with Rosary Academy, along with Windward and Mater Dei.
You like that Windward Mater Dei
Windward's
matchup?
real tiny, Mater Dei's real big.
You know, I did see Redondo Union's girls play earlier this year. They got great point guard play. They're very confident. They played a very good schedule. But Sierra Canyon, again, pops up on the map, and I got to think that division is going to run through them. I think their Sierra Canyon girls are really good.
I'll give you a little sleeper. Rosary Academy, who finished second to Mater Dei in that Trinity League. I think Rosary, if they get going, could make some noise. Don't forget a state championship just a couple of years ago.
It's just going to be a good run. You got a lot of traditional schools, a lot of traditional powers, and that's what people like to see in playoff games. I mean, they do. They either want to see the Goliath continue on to stomp people or get stomped by the upcomer. One or the other. So we'll see what happens. All right, Randy, you got girls open division?
Yeah, this time we are going to take
City
a look
section.
at the brackets. Let's look at the city brackets in the open division. It starts with Granada Hills. They're the top seed, and they have the Haleys. Both Haley girls are outstanding. That would be Haley Burfield. She's a terrific wing player, and Haley Aiden, a 6'2 post. Now, they went to the open division final last year and lost to Carson. Those two stars are back, and that's why they're the #1 seed. They should have no trouble with Legacy. You know, El Camino Real is the #4 seed against Eagle Rock. El Camino Real has a terrific young lady who averages 22 points a game, Calafari. But I don't think it's not going to be an easy game. Eagle Rock will play them tough, but probably ECR. Narbonne against Hamilton. Narbonne's got a great defensive team. The Gauchos are the favorite there. And Birmingham and Westchester. Westchester's very good. They have a young lady by the name of Destiny Brown, a post player who's dominant. I've seen her play for a number of years, and I don't think anyone in the city could stop them. I got to think she'll be dominant. So I think it's going to come down to Granada Hills and Westchester. Form usually holds up there, and I don't know who's going to win that game. It's going to be a battle in the middle with the two post players. I think that could be a terrific game. I'm not sure that Westchester, the #2 seed, shouldn't be the favorite because Destiny Brown is brilliant.
Be something to Westchester doubled up, huh, boys and girls?
Yeah, and they're '2 seed. They're the #2 seed in the boys and the girls.
Rolling Hills Prep took the boys and the girls to the state championship game in the same year. It was 2 years ago.
We've seen Windward do it.
Yeah, Windward as well. All right. Right now, we're going to go to Carlos Pena, and he has, believe it or not, a soccer report for us. Carlos, take it away.
Hey guys, thanks for that introduction. Folks, I'm Carlos Pena. This is SoCal Prep Report. Beautiful time of the year. I'm bringing you soccer playoff updates. Let's go straight to the charts. And let's get started with Division I boys soccer. Top 5. San Clemente, Cathedral, Loyola, Miracosta, and Servite. Moving on to Division II, Chanel, Santa Ana, Vista, Arlington, and Newberry Park. Division III, Semi-Valley, Fullerton, Redlands, Valencia, Artesia. In Division IV, El Segundo. Now, if you remember, El Segundo won their CIF and regional last year. Great Oaks, North, Tustin, and bringing up the rear, Hart. And moving on to Division V, my favorite division. These teams are definitely going to duke it out. We have Sierra Vista, the mighty Hesperia, Los Amigos, Gary, and bringing up the rear, Granite Hills. Division VI, Arroyo, Azusa, Nogales, La Puente, and St. Margaret's. In Division 7 boys soccer, Fairmont, Bishop, Newberry, San Dimas, and Thatcher. Moving on to Division 1 girls soccer, we have Los Alamitos up top, J. Sarah, Upland, Villa Park, and bringing up the rear, Mater Dei. Moving on to Division 2, Flint Ridge, Newport, Temecula, Centennial, and Sunny Hills. Division 3, Bishop Amont, the mighty Oak Hills out of Hesperia, Claremont, Serrano, also from the High Desert, and St. Margaret's. Now, if you recall last year, Oak Hills and Serrano, they went at it. It's going to be good to see them go at it again. Moving on to Division 4, Ventura, Paloma, Alemany, Apple Valley, and Tusk. Division 5, Windward, Hemet, Immaculate Heart, South Pasadena, and San Jacinto. Division 6, Ontario, Valley Christian, Wilson, Costa Mesa, and Jurupa Hills. And finally, Division 7, we have Pomona Catholic, Whittier, Arroyo, Fillmore, and Desert Mirage. Hey, that's it for this week's soccer update, Division 1 through 7. Next week, I'll bring an LA section. Back to you guys.
Man, I can't believe Carlos comes back finally, and this is what he gives us, man.
Good
Soccer.
Good to finally see Carlos again.
Carlos, we're just messing with you, man. Bob loves you. I like you.
I love you.
Anyways, of course, we're here at Santa Fe High School today, and the boys and the girls team both made the playoffs. Santa Fe boys team will be hosting San Dimas on Friday night. And, of course, earlier, Bob talked with the girls' coach, Coach Coakley.
We're going to spend the next couple of minutes visiting with Zach Coakley, the girls basketball coach here at Santa Fe. Coach, congratulations on a great season. It culminates in a playoff spot. I know league didn't exactly go probably the way you had hoped it would, but what did you learn coming out of that tough league campaign?
Yeah, we went through a little struggle. You got one of our players injured at the end, and it was actually really good for us because we learned what our strengths and weaknesses are because our league is really tough. So going forward, we figured out what we can do to good teams to make them, give them some problems. So we switched up our defense a little bit, and going forward, I feel a lot more confident about where we are at the end of the league than we were at the beginning, even though our record looked pretty good before that, but now a little more confident going forward.
Obviously, before that, I mean, you guys hit a really good stretch, in the non-league play, especially, early in the season.
Yeah.
Did that, building up that confidence, did that help kind of maybe temper some of what happened in the league?
A little bit, yeah. I think we knew how good we were, and then once we started hitting some rough patches, it got a little rough, but I think we had that in the back of our mind that we know how good we are. We've beaten good teams, and we can get back to the form that we were in. We had a little slump, but now we feel like we're back right where we were.
What does it mean to these girls to be in the playoffs?
Oh, it's big. They haven't been for a little bit, so they're excited. I don't know if they all have this circled on their calendar to still be playing basketball by now, but it feels good. They're all excited.
It's a good thing to be in the gym this time of year,
yeah,
right?
It feels great.
First round opponent, Webb. I don't know much about him. What can you tell me about him?
They went undefeated in league.
Yeah,
They're first place team. It's a little bit of a drive in Claremont. So yeah, hopefully that won't hurt us too much. But I feel confident. The girls feel confident. We think we could take care of business.
Is there any advantage to playing a school like that where there's not much information, you don't know much about them, right? They don't know much about you either, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a little bit of an advantage, I guess. Now that everything's on the internet, we actually can get filmed pretty easily on them, so I'm sure they did the same for us. So I'm not expecting to have a huge, unknown. We kind of know what they're going to do. I'm sure they'll know what we do, but it could be kind of weird because we haven't ever played any of the teams that they played.
Right.
You look on their list of teams and none of them look familiar, so it's kind of a little bit unknown. You don't know exactly how good they're going to be until you get in the gym and start playing.
Well, Coach, good luck to you, and we hope you make a long playoff run and maybe it culminates in a championship.
All right, me too.
All right,
Thanks,
congratulations. That's Zach Coakley, the head girls basketball coach here at Santa Fe High School.
All right, Bob, good job. Santa Fe wrestling team is also in the Masters meet coming up this weekend. They'll be out in Palm Springs. I believe they qualified, 6 or 9, something like that. I talked briefly with Coach right now. Either way, all the qualifiers from this week will go to the Masters, which is basically the qualifier for the state. So I believe they take the top 9 at each weight class, and then it's for everything. You go up to Riverbank Arena in Bakersfield and slug it out for the state championship. So Santa Fe might have some representation there. I think they might get 3 at state this year. All right, now we're going to talk about the all-time leading scorer in high school basketball in the CIF Southern section, Jared Lucas. You've heard him talk about him the prior couple of weeks. Last Thursday, he finally broke Casey Jacobson's 20-something-odd-year-old record for having the most points in a career. He now has 3,285. That's one better than Jacobson's 3,284. Yesterday, I talked with Jared Lucas about the record. All right, everybody, there's a new CIF Southern Section all-time scoring champion, and his name is Jared Lucas, and Jared's standing here with us. Jared, congratulations, man. That is a hallowed record.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, I'm just extremely blessed to be here and be able to beat that record and passing up some great players.
Let's talk about when you finally got it, you put up the basket, and you came to the sideline, and the place went crazy. What was going through your mind at that time, the emotions you were feeling?
You know, I think the biggest emotion I felt was probably just I was so excited. You know, I know that I've been waiting all season long to get this record, and you know, now I got it, you know, and now it feels like so much pressure is taken off, and now my teammates and I, especially my teammates, you know, their goal is to try and pass me the ball, and now, you know, we just get to play basketball.
Well, you have a big contest this Friday. Of course, it's Crossroads, and somebody you're familiar with.
Yeah, you know, last year they beat us in the quarterfinals, beat us on a buzzer beater. You know, that loss hurt. You know, that was probably the toughest loss I've ever had, and, you know, the toughest basketball loss I've ever had in my life. And, you know, there's a whole lot of fuel for my teammates and I, and, you know, we're going to come out there, and with a lot of energy, I know our student section is going to bring it.
Your teammates, and how do they feel about this, man? Be part of this. Talk to anyone about it?
I think it says enough looking at pictures and looking at video of my teammates. I think as a whole bench was all standing up, hugging, cheering, and so that means a lot to me, you know, and these guys knew that, you know, I'm not trying to be selfish, you know, but the goal was to get the record, and they know that it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so I'm so grateful for my teammates.
Well, for me as a former athlete, if I could say, you know, I was a teammate of Jared Lucas and he set the all-time scoring record, that's something pretty special because, you know, they were part of it.
Yeah.
Somebody had to feed you the ball at some point.
Oh, yeah, of course. And, you know, they did a great job all year.
Yeah. Now, talk about having your jersey retired, because that was something I wasn't expecting to see right after the game, but, man, that was really cool.
You know, it's awesome. You know, I've grown up in this gym basically ever since I was born. My dad's coached here 20 years. I've been crawling. However you find a way to walk, run, you know, I've been running all over, shooting everywhere here. So, you know, it's kind of crazy and such a blessing.
Hey guys, you got to admit, Jared Lucas, there's all these accolades he's getting. Oregon State's getting a good one. They're getting a winner.
Congratulations, really good player.
Fabulous player, and I love the way he finished the season with all the big games, scoring 50+.
And you saw his humility and how humble this gentleman is. This guy's going to go places, so we're looking forward to following his career, and good luck in the playoffs, Jared. All right, Randy, tell us about Ryan Braun. Got a jersey retired this week,
Yeah,
huh?
him and Gary Matthews out at Granada Hills. A nice ceremony there. Ryan Braun's number 7 was retired, and he was absolutely thrilled that his retired number was put away for good. This event today, having your number retired at Granada Hills, how thrilling is that for you?
It was really special, not something that I expected or anticipated by any means, and it allows you to reflect on the experience of playing high school baseball here, and when I would look back on it, those are some of the most memorable and transformative years of my career. There's very few times in life that baseball is as much fun as it is in high school. I still have so many of my friends who I played high school baseball with that I'm still close to today, so just made me reflect on the whole journey, and also just made me be incredibly appreciative and grateful of having great teammates, great coaches, and so many friends around me that enable something like this to be possible.
A lot of retired numbers. We just saw Jared Lucas. He got his number retired, too, this week at Los Altos, so that's pretty cool. A lot of guys getting accolades now that they're doing things great. Ryan Braun, though, man, and Matthews. What took Matthews so long?
I don't know.
Jeez, Matthews was great 40 years ago.
That was in the early 90s. So this is junior, not senior.
Junior.
Junior.
Okay, I'm
Junior.
thinking senior.
Junior.
All right, now I see. All right,
Okay, it's good. It's good.
Randy. All right. Well, listen, it was a great. It's great that the basketball playoffs are starting right now. I'm thinking Super Bowl right now, fellas.
Nah,
you guys
don't
owe me
bring up the
money.
Super Bowl.
You guys
Don't
owe
do
me
it.
money on that
Don't
now.
do it.
No. Bob had the Patriots, didn't he?
I did. I did
had the
pick the Patriots.
Patriots. He picked the Patriots.
Because if Bob had picked the Patriots would have lost.
I
all
did
right?
pick the Patriots.
He picked the Patriots,
It's the
didn't
one
he?
time of the year I was right.
Did he really pick the Patriots?
I did.
Not on this show he
Larry,
did.
don't tell
No,
me.
he didn't.
He's
We all
big
picked the
Rams.
Rams.
This guy's the biggest
We
Ram
all
owner
picked the
ever.
You
Rams.
told me I was the kiss of
Gio?
death, so I picked against.
He picked the Rams.
But it wasn't in his heart. He
Yeah,
lied.
yeah.
Bob lied.
Always the Rams.
Bob lied.
Rams right there forever.
Yes, thank you, Larry. For 20-something years, Bob's been telling me Rams are coming. Me and John have been hammering you on the radio for the last 20 years. And
they couldn't have played any worse.
And now you're going to go against them. That's all because they lost.
No,
You're trying to
no.
distance yourself.
Always Rams.
You're a fair weather fan, Bob.
Rams.
Always
Nope.
have been.
Nope.
All right, that's the conflict I had. I was deciding whether to finish with the high school story, the Super Bowl, and I just couldn't let it go, guys. My Super Bowl hate overtook the show.
That's all right.
Hey, I like Brady. I told you that last week, and he had that big winning drive. He's only got 6 Super Bowl rings now, guys.
Whatever. All right, cheated on half of them.
Yeah, that's
all right,
true.
guys, on behalf of Rosenblum, Gibson, I'm Estrella. So long, people, friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. See you next week.
What's happening in LA? I'm Arian Alexander. The holidays have passed, and now that's left us all thinking, what's there to do? Don't fret, we've got you covered. From classic traditions to the cycle of life, what's happening in LA will get you inspired. Lunar New Year is this week, and Chinatown is once again throwing the biggest block party in celebration of the Year of the Boar. In its 120th year, the Golden Dragon Parade will wrap itself around Central Plaza in the afternoon. Stay until the evening and enjoy entertainment stages, craft markets, food booths, and live music. It's a true welcome to the Year of the Boar. For more information on the day's events, visit ChinatownLA.com. This Saturday, the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion is putting a spin on a Queens with Sleepless, Quinceañera Reimagined. Step into a Latin celebration that examines the tradition through the lens of class, gender, sexuality, and the power of women. Take part in performances and installations throughout the Opera House. Vibe to the rhythmic beats of Latin music and watch as classic Queens dancers take on a whole new revolutionary style. For details, visit musiccenter.org. Don't miss acclaimed Chinese artist Ai Weiwei's first exhibition in Los Angeles. Life Cycle lures you in its awesome scale and impresses with its beautifully delicate construction. Taking over the Marciano's massive theater gallery, the large-scale installations features pieces like sunflower seeds with millions of porcelain seeds and a giant inflatable raft made from bamboo, inspired by the European refugee crisis. For tickets, visit marcianoartfoundation.org. Los Angeles continues to dazzle us with its diversity in all aspects of life. Who would have thought your week could be so eventful? I'm Arian Alexander with What's Happening in LA, and I'll see you next week with more.